Great day, everyone. Great day, everyone. I want to welcome you to another episode of the Overnight Success Podcast. I'm your host, Diamond McNulty, founder and CEO of McNulty International, creator of the Success Club, author of How to Become a Successful Young Man, Woman, Success Recovery, and 12 Things Entrepreneurs Should Pray For. And as you know, I always like to welcome y'all to the boardroom because with the Overnight Success Podcast, we're here to do one thing and one thing only. That's to empower high schoolers and college students to focus on success and succeed in life. And today is just like another day, right? We want to do that. We want to empower them. And hopefully we also empower some adults as well to let them know it's still possible for them to achieve all of their dreams and goals in life. Okay. Now, today we have a dynamic guest. Dynamic. I'm extremely excited to introduce him, right? He is America's coach, author of Everyday Millionaires and Retired Inspired. He's been featured on Good Morning America, CNN, CNBC, Fox, consulting with Fortune 100 and 500 companies across the country with over 25 years of experience in helping others with wealth building. Let's bring him in. Come on in, Coach Chris Hogan. How you doing today, brother?
I'm good, Diamond. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining me inside of the boardroom. I'm so excited to not only just share your journey, but just to empower the youth. And this is going to be an amazing conversation that we're going to have today. Is there anything you want to start off with before we get started? Anything you want to share with our audience?
Well, I'm just excited. I think thinking back to when I was young, long before I had these gray hairs, that having the dreams inside and, how excited you are about all that you can. And so I'm excited to be able to help these young people not only dream maybe even bigger, but how to learn how to take the steps to start to try to make those dreams a reality.
Yes, that is so important. That's what we're talking about, the steps, the roadmap. So let's take it back, Chris. Let's take it all the way back to the beginning. How was your upbringing? How was those dynamic? Family's dynamic, born and raised, all of those good details.
Well, was born into a really big family. I had 6 uncles, aunts, just a big, loving, competitive family. So when we played cards and games, I learned young that you had to bring it, right? I learned what competition was. But born and raised in Kentucky, right in central Kentucky, and that's where a majority of my family still is.
That's what I'm talking about. So Kentucky. And then here you are as a young individual. Were you always inspired? Like you said, coming up in that big family, what did that do to you, having that love?
Oh man, that love made all the difference. And my and aunts, everyone was athletic and competitive and smart. So, for me, it gave me a great understanding of not only my identity, but all that I could achieve, and I felt that, that sense of pride as I'm watching my uncles compete in sports and do well. And I already, I started getting that drive at a young age.
Oh man, I can feel it, right? You come up in this environment that's just so encouraging, so welcoming, and so forthcoming to move you forward. So I'm excited that you paid attention. Like I think that's important for our youth when you're in certain environments to pay attention, all of the good things, soak it in and move forward because it's possible. Let's walk through your educational journey really quick. How was your grammar school, high school years?
Grammar school, high school years were great. I was fortunate enough to stay really in the same school system, from kindergarten till graduating high school. So grew up with a lot of people in all of my life, a lot of good friends, right there in the area.
Now, what kind of student were you? A's and B's? Were you into sports?
There was an A or two in there every once in a while, but I was an average student, very focused on sports. But Mama Hogan made it very clear that my job was school. Sports was and so she helped me learn that. Let's just say very quick.
Man, that's important, right? Because you have to take care of the grades. The grades are extremely important, as well as the additional activities. So that's a benefit. Did you have any mentors that influenced you during that time? Were there any teachers aside from the family? I know the family inspired you.
Yeah, the family was phenomenal, and my uncles were very inspirational in what they did, not always, what they said and what they did, but also
Mhm.
had teachers all throughout school. Teachers that I still remember to this day, Miss Mertz, Miss Barrows, Mrs. Smith, Mrs. Reeves. I mean, you can just go on and of these people that not only cared about you, but they just wanted you to do well, and so very grateful for that.
Yes. Now most students, depending on the environment that they're in, right? You may have these individuals that truly care about you. So take advantage of those opportunities. Pay attention. Is there any advice that you would give a high schooler right now that's going through it?
Well, I think you hit it on the head, Diamond. Definitely be be aware of those relationships you have now. That's the
Yeah.
beginning of networking, where you begin to get to people outside of your family, and that's a very, very, very valuable skill to be able to have. But it also allows you to gain confidence in yourself, being able to talk with people, not just at them. And what I mean by that is where you're asking a question and you're genuinely listening. You're not just waiting to talk. And so getting into those conversations with people and being able to learn, I think is a great opportunity for a high schooler to develop that skill before going off to college and then into the business.
Was there any challenge? What were some of the challenges that you faced during your high school years that you had to overcome, if any?
Well, I mean, the challenge was obviously staying focused, right? Meaning, going from sport to sport. I would go from football to wrestling to track, and so really for me, it was a matter of really understanding. Yes, I love the sports side of it, but the academics are just as important, and so that was a challenge, staying as busy as I was.
Did that help you develop your organizational skills, right, as you was navigating it? And then, uh, how was your lens in looking at that, balancing, juggling all of those good things?
Well, I can tell you, my organizational skills in high school probably weren't that good. But when I got to college, after that first
Mhm.
semester, did not go as planned. Okay, I'm going to tell you, the academic performance was a wake up call. And so for me,
Mhm.
that got me organized and got me more focused because I knew what I wanted, but I definitely knew what I didn't want. And when I say that, what
Yeah.
I'm saying is I knew I wanted to be successful. And what I didn't want was to let anybody down. My grandmother, my mom, uncles, my family.
When you think about it, it's a reason why you want to stay on track. My mother inspired me too. When just thinking of her face and just thinking of her and her heart kept me on track. I knew that I didn't want to let her down. So that means a lot. At what age did you discover your gifts or some of your passions?
I think young, I think,
Mhm.
you start to get an understanding of some of your gifting. And it'll become
Yeah.
more aware, I think, as you get into high school and into college. But I think everybody has gifts and talents. Uh, and when
Yes.
you into that, and if you can utilize that gifting and that talent in your career, the odds are you won't feel like you're working very much because you're doing something that you love. And I'm going to tell you, that's a true gift. To be able to do something that you're passionate about and that you love is a blessing. There are a lot of people that don't get to do that. So the better you get to know yourself, the better off you'll be able to find what's that thing that gets you up and out of bed and gets you excited.
Yes, I tell you, you're speaking to the choir because when I talk about being able to not want to go to bed and then to rush to wake up because you're just in your sweet spot. I just want all of our youth to understand that. Just identify that, right? And then activate it and then develop it. So continue to move that forward. Hello, my name is Diamond McNulty, and I want to welcome you to the McNulty International Success Club, where we help youth and adults create their personal success plans to achieve their dreams in life. Visit McNultyInternational.com today and register. And I look forward to seeing each and every one of y'all inside the boardroom. Now, here we are, where you're going from high school and into college. What helped you in that transition? What college did you choose and why?
Well, I was actually recruited by a lot of colleges, and that was because of football. And so I had my mind set on places that I wanted to go. But the reality was is that I wanted to stay south. I wanted to stay closer to home. I just did. The high school that I graduated from, we did not have a big class. There may have been 230, 240 of us. That's a home room of some of these high schools now, right? Uh, but coming up in that environment, I knew I wanted to stay close, and I knew the team, the coach, the school. It was a lot of factors, but my grandmother was really helpful for me. Really helping me, and my mom as well. Really sifting through and figuring out what were my priorities.
And you think about it too, because you mentioned that first year you're going in with a certain lens, and then you're like, oh, I'm gonna execute at a different pace. So that developed. Did you stay on campus? Did you stay at home while you were there? What did you select?
Yeah, no, I ended up going to school. It was probably about 30 minutes from home. So I stayed on
Okay.
campus all 4 years.
Okay.
Actually stayed on campus all 4 years in the same dorm room, if you can believe that or not.
That now, what did you major in college, and why?
Yeah, I majored in communications in college
Mhm.
uh,
Mhm.
because I knew I wanted to, get in that area, in that field, the business side, communication side. I knew I love both of those things.
Yeah. Now, being able to communicate, being effective with your communication, like yourself, even now, I can only imagine because you're a dynamic individual. And every time I hear you speak or I read a word, I'm inspired. So I love it. Now, what inspires you as you were going through that path? Was there any role models that you were like, okay, I'm in college. This is the pathway I'm taking. These are the individuals that I'm looking at.
Yeah, you know what? I learned young, I guess again, going back to family with my uncles being very successful in wrestling and football and track, I learned and saw competition. Uh, I saw them
Mhm.
being I saw them practicing and doing the things. And so for me, I guess, coming up around that, it allowed me to be able to faster, which I think is a
Yes.
positive because we
Yeah.
all are constantly learning. You never stop. Now, I'm not trying to
Correct.
in depression or anything out there. I'm saying when you graduate high school and if you go on to college and you graduate there, we still go to school. It's called the school of real life, and so you're always learning. These skills are going to help you all throughout life.
And I love that you mentioned that because our youth, they have to adopt that mindset, right? That continuous improvement mindset. Because some people after high school, they want to stop reading, they want to stop their learning. Even
Yeah.
and then when they go into college, some of us reach the college level and they understand that it's a lifetime of learning. So
Mhm.
never stop learning, always continue. Were there any setbacks that you had from college during your college time, and how did you deal with them? How did you deal with any failures, if that?
Well, the first setback we talked about, there was that first semester. Um, I,
Yeah.
I, I, I set me way back with that situation. That was not what I wanted to see. That end report card number, that GPA was,
Ooh,
and I knew I was going to have a conversation with Mom Hogan, and I knew I was going to have to talk to my coaches. And I can tell you,
yeah.
that and wanting them to understand that I didn't want to let them down. I didn't want to let me down, and it was
Mm,
a factor. It really was, and it helped me because it helped me to focus. It helped me to prioritize. It helped me to do some things right. And so
yeah.
we all need that motivation to help us make those changes.
Yes. Now, what was the most valuable lesson that you learned during that time?
Great question. I think the most valuable lesson that I learned was that I to control, meaning I
Mm,
had there was always going to be stuff going on, but what I had to do was pick and choose what was the most important thing. And so learning that was big, learning to say no, not just to other people, but saying no to yourself sometimes. I can't go do.
Mm.
I can't be bothered with that. I got to stay focused.
Being able to identify the time that you have in your hands and lock in and do those great things. So now here you are, you're going from college and into the world, right? What did that transition look like? And did anyone help you and guide you during that time?
Well, the transition looked like for me, I had really had set on a career path back when I was
Mhm.
in seventh grade. So I knew what I wanted to achieve. But
Yeah.
opportunities do come. I want to say that we can make plans, we can have our ideas, but we also have to remain open to opportunities that will come. And I say that
Yeah.
because you said a key word, Diamond. You said, did anything come? What was that journey was like? Did anyone help you? Well, yes. Actually, my head football coach ended up taking a job after my last season. Going to take a job the next semester in a school in Pennsylvania, and so he ended up offering me a job, full-time coaching job, but they were also going to pay for my grad school. And so I was able to go to grad school essentially on a scholarship, and was a full-time coach on the football team. I was in charge of academic monitoring as well as strength coach, and then I was the defensive line coach.
Talk about access and opportunities. I love it.
Right.
I love it. I love it. Even myself, when I was younger, I was started off like 5 or 6. I had doctors and lawyers, and all of them, covered me, and they showed me the possibilities. So it's so great for others who are in
Mm.
position to encourage and inspire our youth. Now, were there any resources, books, or things that you gravitated towards that helped you throughout that process as well? That you like, okay, great information.
Well, without a doubt, my freshman year on campus, our defense coordinator, his name was Ernie Horning, Coach Horning,
Yeah.
and one of the things he did before we ever stepped foot out on a football field, he put us through this positive thinking class where we
Mhm.
were watching books and watching videos and reading books, and he's teaching us the psychological side. Initially, as a freshman, I'm 17 years old on campus. I'm looking around and I'm like, what is dude talking about?
Yeah.
But it turned out to be, again, another extremely pivotal moment in my life and gave me information that I still use in my life.
The mindset and staying positive, being optimistic because life is a journey.
Yes, it
Don't be
is.
closed minded. Do
Right.
not be closed minded. Okay, so let's walk into the career, right? So here you are, you're coaching. Now, let's bridge the gap between the coaching and now you became an author. Like, how did all of that come about? Because you've done some amazing things.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I've been fortunate.
Yeah.
Working, getting my master's degree, and that was focused in business communication. And so when I got that, I shifted and went into the banking world. And
Mhm.
so that was the transition from there, and then moved on banking into mortgages, then investing, and then radio and all that. So, but the thing I want to help encourage the younger people out there with is build relationships. All along the way, no matter where you're working, if you're working at McDonald's, if you're working at Chick-fil-A, it doesn't matter. Just treat people well and learn the art of really, caring about people and staying connected to people.
Yes. Oh, relationships, networking.
Yes.
Everything is, you know, about relationships. You hit it right on the head when you said that. Now, Chris, here we are on the Overnight Success Podcast, and I like to tell our youth that things just don't happen overnight. This is not the microwave era, right? You can't just it don't just happen in the snap of a finger. But
Yes.
you may have to put in that work overnight in order to achieve your goals. What were some of those overnight moments for yourself?
Oh, I think the overnight moments for me was, a number one, being motivated again by family. I knew who I was out there trying to prove myself for. And I knew the things to accomplish. And, so, being some incredible teachers, incredible coaches that really encouraged me and taught me how to dream bigger than maybe I even dreamed for myself. And I really want to compliment Coach Horning on that. He's no longer with us, but this man was an incredible coach and really cared about the whole human being, not just the.
Crucial. And for him to pour it into you and you to pour it into others, that's how it happens, right? He filled you up. And look, and everyone that's going to watch this is going to be filled up with coach. So that's so important. Okay, so what do you think are some of the key traits and habits that contribute to your success?
I think being driven, having some
Mhm,
things that you want to accomplish. I think obviously, definitely being able to focus, being able to zero in,
mhm,
understand what's happening. I think focus, drive, and then knowing I'm not scared to sacrifice. In
right.
order to achieve something in something, you're going to have to give up in some other areas. And so I think
Mhm.
being able to pick and choose and identify what I'm willing to sacrifice for the sake of the goal is something that I've definitely learned.
And you think about it too, as you're navigating this journey, was there a specific point? Because you say you got into banking, you got into various areas, but they all compiled into who you are today, gave you all of that experience. At what point did you solidify that vision? You said, "This is where I'm going, and I'm not turning back."
I think if I began teach and speak, being able to, take the facts but put in some humor and tell people some stories and help them relate and connect with them. For me, that light bulb went off back in, I think it was 2008, 2009. And it was those things that I went, okay, all right, this is what we do.
Hey, and once you get it, you're like, okay, I got it. And
Right.
because you one thing they can't take away from you is what you've learned and it's stuck inside of you. Now, how important was your entire family? Because we talk about your upbringing on your entrepreneurial journey later on in life.
Well, they were very instrumental. I mean, my uncles and my grandfather had an incredible work ethic, and so being able to, as a young kid growing up and going with them at their job and going on them on another one, and then growing up and then working all these different jobs, what it did was it showed me, number one, the value of a work ethic, right? Number two, the being able to really understand and take pride in what it is you're doing, and having to try to accomplish. So, yes, I'm very grateful for the work ethic my family taught me growing up.
Now, how did you get the title? I gotta ask. America's coach. Right? Where did that come from?
Well, somebody coined me with that because I would travel all around this country trying to help people understand how this money stuff works. And if you don't
Yeah.
get a plan, or they got a plan for you, somebody's out there trying to get your money. And so,
Mhm.
so I've been essentially all across this country, helping people understand what to do, what to avoid, and how to do it. And so I'm excited now,
Yeah.
having own company to not only just tell people how to do it, but to help them get it done.
So right now you have so many things that I want to share with our audience. So what are some of the things that you're working on right now with your companies?
Yeah. So I have my consulting group, Hogan Consulting Group. That's me as I will work with executives and teams. But I also have Calyx Wealth Management. This is people that are investing their money to be able to grow it for the future, for retirement, for their dreams. And then we have Calyx Coaching, Calyx
Mhm.
Coaching. This is where I'll be doing a lot of the speaking and training things that I'll do around the country.
When you think about your journey to now be able to help so many people, and I know you're tracking it, I can only imagine the success stories that you've had. Now, are there some other books that you're working on? Because we talk about everyday millionaires, right? I loved it. You got retired inspired. What other books or materials that you may be bringing forth coming forward?
Well, I'm working on a few books and got a couple outlines that I'm wrestling with. So I can tell you, Diamond, I'm definitely there will be some more books coming. There will be a show, and so I'm excited to be able to connect with you and your audience. And so let's stay connected and see what happens.
Yes, let's make a difference. And then and empower everyone around the world. What legacy do you want to leave behind for yourself as a businessman or as just a coach?
Yeah. I think people matter. I think I want to, I've got so many other goals that I want to do. I've been fortunate in my life to do a few things, but I've got so much more that I want to do. And so I just want a legacy of somebody of saying that man was a coach. That man would push,
Mm.
that man would encourage you and to help you think big for yourself. I think if that's something that's said about me when I'm gone, that's a good thing.
Now that matters. That matters, right? And it's one person at a time, right? That's what that individual connection does. Is there anything that you want to share with our audience that we haven't shared with them? I want to make sure they take away the Hogan that we know. Is that
Yeah, I would just tell as you're now into this new year and moving
Yeah.
forward, just make sure that you get the right people around you.
Mhm.
We can have all kinds of friends when you're in high school, but I want you to get your inner circle. Those people you can really trust and count on, uh, and stay connected to them. Build those relationships. They'll help you all throughout your life.
Yes. Well, y'all heard it right there. So I got to thank you, Chris. It's always an honor, right? To see what you're doing, to hear about what you're doing. And I've been following you for a long time. So I myself have read multiple books. And as I continue to look forward for our youth, I have to let them know that anything is possible if you believe in yourself, create a plan, take action, and never give up, right? I want y'all to take hold, dream big, like Chris said, dream big because it's possible for you to achieve your goals. So just never give up, right? And thank you again, Chris, for joining us inside of the boardroom. This
Hey,
was
thank you.
wonderful.
Pleasure, man.
Thank you. Thank you. So, everyone, we'll see y'all next time. Y'all have a wonderful day. Take care.